If you earn a salary of 40,000 Kenyan shilling and below, it's approximately like $400, or let's talk of $350 in a month. This is what I would like you to do, or this is my suggestion. It's not me dictating to what you're supposed to do with your own salary or with your own money, but there is one thing I'll tell you. Anybody who is in Kenya earning a salary of 40,000 and below, you fall under the category of the largest group, because most people, they earn a salary of 15,000 all the way to 40,000. Now, are we together? That is where the larger percentage of Kenyans usually earn. And if your salary falls under this category, let me just tell you one thing. You're having what we call a basic salary. That is a basic salary. To some extent, that money ought to cater for your basics, the food, the shelter, the clothing. Now, what happens, how can you then embark on the journey of investment or the wealth creation with a salary of within that bracket, as I've mentioned? First of all, with that amount of money in terms of your salary at the end of the month, and by the way, for your information, assuming you earn 40,000, you've not done all the pay, the deductions, and what have you, probably that salary will go all the way, say, to 32,000. So when you're earning this kind of money, there's some things I do not expect from you. First of all, I don't expect you to, do what we call the luta continua every time and what have you. What I would like you to do is to think on how can you leverage on the salary that you have so that you can invest it so that ultimately you can get yourself off that problem of the salary. Because let's be sincere, if you earn a salary of 40,000, if you deduct your rent, if you deduct your expenses and what have you, you're almost left with nothing. So if you want this salary, there are only three things that I would advocate you just care about. Forget about the rest. I want you to just care about three things only. That is it. What are these three things? And this is what I always tell people. If you can take care of these three things, the rest will take care of themselves. The first thing that you need to take care of it is to pay yourself. Paying yourself does not mean buying yourself a new dress or a new shirt or a new shoe or whatever. Treating yourself does not mean that you go to a very expensive hotel and you have yourself a staycation there or a vacation or whichever you guys call it. Paying yourself, it simply means getting a fraction of the money that you get at the end of the month so that you can be able to salvage yourself in future financially by investing that money. Let me tell you one thing. See, when we talk when we talk about investments, people tend to think like when we talk about investment is denying yourself, is denial, No, it does not mean so. Sure, there are some elements of denial and delayed gratification of which most of you may not agree with it or may not love it. But the fact remains, investing is buying off a day that you do not have to work. Because when you take your money and commit it in an investment, that money that you have committed, you have actually employed that money to work for you to make you money. In other words, your money is your employee, meaning that money makes you money. That means a time will come, the money that you've employed, the money that it is making, it is equivalent to the money that you are getting where you are employed. As a result, investing is buying off a day that you do not have to work. And how do you invest? By paying yourself. You want 40, get your 10K, throw it in an investment and quote unquote forget about it. Keep on pumping in. You're buying yourself, you're buying your freedom. Because the moment you are in a salary, one thing that you're supposed to understand is that you've rented your freedom. Your freedom is not guaranteed, it's rented. So as a result, you're supposed to be in a process of buying your freedom. And whenever you're getting your salary, the first thing that you're supposed to do is to pay yourself. That is embarking on the journey of buying your freedom. I was having a conversation with some guy somewhere I was invited, and you find the environment or the job environment is very toxic, but they can't quit. Why can't you quit? Because you need that money. First of all, most of you do a mistake. You go have yourself a very expensive lifestyle. On top of an expensive lifestyle, guess what you do? You now become a slave to your job. Why? You can't afford to quit. Why? If you quit, you have a lot of bills to pay. Some of you are even paying almost or even more than half of your salary towards the rent. And we said here, or you ought not to go beyond 30% of your salary. It's recommended. Unless maybe your dream was to rent a very expensive home, then If that is the case, then congratulations, you're living your dream. Number two, what you're supposed to do is to cater for what we call the food and the transport and other basics, such as if you have a school fees to pay, if you have, obviously not if you have electricity, the water, other fixed expenses. These are things to make sure that, for example, if you set aside some transport, it means that at least for the next 1 month, you will be able to go to your job. We have food. I mean, you need food for your sustainability and your survival. You need to pay the utilities. Therefore, you pay your food and other fixed expenses, other normal or basic things that you need to cater for your life. This ensures that you have a peace of mind. How many of you here, you're somewhere relaxing and you know one thing, that all those things, as far as your transport for the next whole month is catered for, you've actually paid some, you've paid your council or your water council. That's what we call here in Kenya. You know, these guys who do the water thing and what have you. You've done all those, and obviously you have food in your house. Then lastly, the third thing that it is far much important is to go ahead and do what? That money, you cater for something that we call, how can I say this? You pay for yourself, you pay yourself. And number two, you make sure that you pay for the food and the transport and whatever. Actually, it's the food. I was about to say the transport and the food. Now, those are the three important things that you're supposed to cater for yourself. Why? The moment you mind about those three things, the rest will follow. That's why I always tell people. First question, have you paid yourself? Yes, I have paid myself. Second thing, have you actually done what we call the paying of the rent? Okay, you pay that rent. And that thing, you pay for your food and the transport and what have you. Now, the rest or whatever you're going to do with the rest of the money, that's an issue. Go ahead and do it. That one I do not care. I tell people, as much as you've paid yourself, as much as you've actually paid where you live, that is your house rent, as much as you've paid for your food and the transport and other fixed expenses such as utilities and the school fees if you have any, the rest of the cash you can throw even party. You can even have fun. Even when you're having fun with that money, you will actually be having fun knowing that, hey, guess what? I'm having fun knowing that my rent has already been paid. So I cannot go home and get another padlock. You know, here in Kenya, we have a situation whereby if you don't pay your rent, I mean, obviously, see you have a padlock on your door. Then you find the landlord or landlady has already added his or hers. Therefore, it means that you cannot access your house. Yeah. So, or even you can find somebody even welding your house. So what happens, or your door rather? Now, what happens is that you've paid your rent, you're good. You've paid your water, you've paid your electricity. At least you're gonna have some light in your home, and you've actually paid yourself. You're not only buying your freedom, but there are other things that you're doing to sustain yourself. But the thing here, you find somebody earning that salary, then you're straining, chasing, trying to live a lifestyle of somebody who is earning 100. You cannot afford to live the same lifestyle. For example, pick two people here. One is John and the other one is James. And these two guys, one is earning a 40,000 salary, the other one is earning 100K salary. There is no way you can try to catch up with James every time he's earning 100K and you're on your 40,000. You can't do that. If James can afford to say go to a party on the weekend, each and every weekend, he can afford to do that. I mean, you cannot afford to do that because you're not on the same salary. That's a fact. That sometimes you can even be earning 40K and another one earning 40K working from the same company. But you people, you may not even afford to save equivalent or similar amount of money at the end of the month. So as a result, when it comes to saving, when it comes to investing, and people tend to think like when we talk about investments and savings, it's like we are saying, hey, deny yourself, you're not supposed to have fun, life is nah. You see, because you're listening to what I'm saying on a linear mentality. No, in other words, by the way, if you were to zoom in and be a little bit open-minded, another way around, I'm telling you, hey, how about you take care of your finances, you invest so that you can have fun without you worrying. Can you imagine this? And that is why, let me tell you one secret. This is a theory that I've actually, this is a research that I've done and I've realized. Do you know why people love weekends? The moment it reaches Friday, the people are happy. Why? Because they have been in a toxic job, most of them. And obviously, by default of the weekend, most people relax. And as a result, most of the people, they are living in a rented freedom. So they know, my goodness, tomorrow is on Friday. That means on Saturday, I'm not going to go to job, and Sunday, I'm relaxing. And people are so hungry at the Sunday evening because they know tomorrow morning is job. Okay? Now, instead of you living, you see, if you invest, if you have money, if you have invested, you have the freedom. To you, Monday or Sunday is the same. Why? If you decide to just go somewhere tomorrow morning, you can just go. If you decide to, you can just go. See, now, when you live in that system, if I don't want to be a bit controversial, but There is a system that operates in this world. When that system swallows you, you actually adhere to that system. And I think it started all the way from the school. I don't know, when the bell rings, you're supposed to do this. It's like you're being controlled. It's like being in a zoo. You are being controlled what you're supposed to do. That system, you work from Monday to Friday, Saturday, you relax, you work from Monday to Sunday. And then in that process of working from Sunday to Monday and whatever, the only thing that you're thinking largely is to get a loan, build yourself a home or have a home. It's like we came here to just own a home. I tell people, sure, there's nothing wrong owning a home, but go beyond that. Try to get yourself off that particular, system. That way, you are actually embarking on a journey towards achieving what we call the financial freedom. Anyway, this is good Joseph. Again, whatever I'm saying here is just me thinking out loud. It's not necessarily a financial advice. It is me just, what? I think you guys, you should get that information. Might be of help in one way or the other. And yeah, sure. Anyway, do not forget to hit that like button. Make sure that you like. Make sure again you subscribe in case you've not subscribed, in case you're watching me for the first time. And if for returning subscribers, thank you for your eyeballs. See you in the next one.